And if you make those things work seamlessly, the quality of the gameplay experience will skyrocket tremendously. And Season 2 is a perfect example of that. I love this season. It's probably the best seasonal update that's ever happened in Warzone. And that is despite the fact that I'm using none of the new content. It's all because they improved the base game a lot. Activision devs do not play their own game.
3,000 devs can't figure out how to add a reconnect feature to a AAA title, I guess. I don't know.
Because Infinity Ward doesn't tell their consumers anything.
Maybe that'll take some of the sweats away from Shoot House.
You can cope about that, for sure.
Thanks for tweeting, at least. Thanks for doing more than Infinity Ward has done. They just keep tweeting about the soccer bundles in the store.
Things that are bad. We've got a couple words. Why don't you kick it off, Tanner?
This is going to be a longer section than the first part you guys heard.
Change it, obviously, of course. We are live, boys and girls. Welcome to this seminal episode of the Dropshot Call of Duty podcast. Episode number, round number 400. Woo! Ep 400. We did it. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon.
Yeah.
Today, I'm joined by Tanner on a nice snowy afternoon for me. Tanner, is it not snowing where you are?
No.
So it is snowing.
Huh?
Never mind. Welcome to the show. Today, we will be talking about, as promised, Season 2. And we have a good amount to say today, this afternoon.
Too much, actually.
So much. All the things. Tanner and I have been playing a lot since Season 2 launched, for a variety of reasons, which we'll get into. And yeah, what we're going to do basically today is a little first impressions kind of episode, as we are wont to do. We've done this many times before. And for this afternoon, we have broken the first impressions into good and bad. So we're going to start with the good, and then those points are going to be in no real particular order, and then the bad, and those are also going to be in no real particular order. Now, keep in mind that it is possible that we are talking about something good or whatever, and that kind of tangents into something not so good, and vice versa. So there will be a little bleed through, I suspect. But generally speaking, that is going to be the bifurcation for this episode. And we have a lot of good things to say. The spoiler alert, this has been a very good season with some notable Raven exceptions. W Raven, U squared Raven. Yeah. Now before we get started, in terms of announcements, don't really have any yet. As we said last episode, for you patrons out there, you can start expecting some more bonus episodes next week, because we wanted to wait again for Season 2 to come out so we can keep those bonus episodes as relevant as possible and as topical as possible. And then also, just another reminder again, for those of you, again, who are patrons who will be listening to this episode ad-free, consider going to SBMMOFF.com and using promo code Dropshot for $5 off. Great way to support the show and get some burger bot lobbies as well. You won't hear our ad for that partnership since you're a patron and you get ad-free episodes, but you will hear that ad, the one I just gave you. So if you want to support the show a little extra and get a lifetime VPN with one purchase, by the way, which is a huge deal because most of these VPN companies will do a monthly subscription type beat, which is insane. it's really nice to be able to just like buy it and have it forever. I'm a big fan of programs that do that, and SBMMOFF is one of them. So yeah, if you want to support the show, use promo code Dropshot, get $5 off, which equates to 10% right now, which is actually a pretty hefty little discount. And you'd be supporting the program with that. So yeah, other than that, another announcement here. Thank you to our super chatters. Beer Noob, here's one. Stop crying with the $2. Thank you very much. We were not crying, but we do appreciate the money. And Kevin Johnson with the $20 super chat as well. Says, Raz, you got paddles on that toy? Of course I do. Yeah. I have been playing on controller. I think I'm actually I'm not even kidding. I think I will be full-time switching the controller for Call of Duty. You might ask why, because I've been playing on keyboard and mouse for 4 years now. Well, here's why. Because the second day of playing Warzone on a controller ever, let me say that again. My second day ever in my life using a controller in Warzone, I tied my Urzikstan PR, and I could have even gotten more, but Cope was on PR pace, so I stopped trying to get kills. So second day ever on a controller on Urzikstan, I get 13 kills. And on Urzikstan for hundreds of hours up till now, I had gotten like 14 or 15 as my PR on Urzikstan. Day two. So I still don't know how to open my backpack, but I can tie my PR virtually on day 2.
You barely move. It's really funny. Or like not you barely move. You can barely move. Like it's funny spectating you because you don't know. You don't even know how to run and do things. But yeah, you're dropping that many kills. You're just like clearing buildings. I'm like, what is going on? Yeah. And that game too. Yeah, we had to throw for Cope to try to get his PR,
right,
and he still didn't get it. So L Cope, thanks.
Yeah, L Cope.
Just begging for kills.
Yeah, that's obviously true. So I will be a controller main. Probably. We'll see, obviously. But it's been really fun. And that may have colored my experience for this episode as well. But there's just another announcement for you. I was teasing that we might do like a controller kind of revisitation episode at some point in the future. Let me say now, that is certainly happening at some time in the future. Because I'm already learning things that I did not know about controller. And it is not that controller's actually harder than I thought it was. That has not been my experience so far, obviously. Again, second time ever. It's really good. So, however, that is not the topic today. So the topic today is first impressions. Let's get into it.
Dog's barking. We're live. Cool.
That dog is barking. Yeah. Thank you again for the super chats, boys. We appreciate it. If you super chat again during the pod, we will shout you out either very briefly or not at all until the end of the show. But we still appreciate and love you if you do that. And we encourage it. So thank you guys. All right. Today, Season 2, First Impressions. So, before we get into it, a couple quick announcements here. Setting the stage a little bit. Originally, well, on Thursday, my plan was, because we hadn't played much Fortune's Keep at all at that point, because we had tried it a little bit and did not like it or have fun. So my intention was to play some Fortune's Keep more before now, but we didn't. So, oops.
L Keep.
Yeah, we didn't. So we will not really be talking very much about Fortune's Keep in this episode, if at all, because I literally haven't played it since Thursday. So We will eventually revisit Fortune's Keep, of course, and at some point, probably this month, we will talk more about it. But I don't think this is a huge loss because the bulk of Season 2, as odd as this might sound, is not actually the inclusion of the new map, Fortune's Keep. The bulk of it is is actually the dozen really, really good quality of life changes we've gotten, and those are present on Fortune's Keep and on every other map as well. So we will talk about Fortune's Keep eventually. I think probably again this month we will.
Yeah, we will for sure.
But we've been having so much fun on Urzikstan that we have not played it since Thursday. So we won't be talking too much about that. If you were really excited about that particular aspect, we apologize. But honestly, I forgot that we should have tried it. Like I would have advocated in our group for a couple Fortune's Keeps games yesterday, but I forgot. So
yeah, I mean, I think what we'll do is we'll probably do a whole episode of talking about
ranked specifically, maybe
pubs versus ranked and how different they are. I think that would be a good episode to do. Patreon or public, not sure yet. We'll figure it out, but there are a lot of things we can talk about right now. There are a lot of different episodes we can do, so it'll probably be one of those though.
Yeah, that's a good idea for an ep, actually. But yeah, just as a little preamble. So our impressions today are going to be almost exclusively about Warzone and Urzikstan. Because another thing as well is the new maps. We've only played Stash House. And I guess we'll start there. So starting with the good. Oh yeah, we'll also talk more about meta guns in an upcoming episode. Yeah, the meta, by the way, was another thing. I guess we'll say this as well. What guns are meta and the meta for Warzone right now? We did mention on Thursday we would talk about that. And we will talk about it a little bit. We're not going to go into super great detail, but basically what appears to be the meta now, based on what I'm seeing streamers use, what I've used myself, and what I've seen in my own lobbies, is still the Ram 7 is the meta long range AR. Particularly with an iron sight, and kind of surprisingly, people have gotten off the Jack BFB and they're just using the Cassis Break muzzle device now. So we're still in a loud meta, as in not using a silencer, but not a Jack BFB meta anymore. So not the crazy downsides of that. And that is surprisingly noticeable, actually. I'm still seeing red dots, but I feel like I'm absolutely not seeing them as often or as, I don't know, clearly, I guess, as when we were in that BFB meta. And I think that's because the downsides, again, of the Jack BFB, which we talked about in the Patreon episode, where that red dot lingers more, were more impactful than most people gave it credit for. You can notice a lot more red dots if someone's using a BFB versus using just a normal compensator or something. Yeah. It's a pretty big deal, actually. And that is kind of surprising, although not that surprising. But anyways, the meta still appears to be long range, the Ram 7 loud, but not BFB loud. And then another long range gun that we've been seeing is the MTZ 762. This is more so on Resurgence, though. I've seen it a couple times on Urzikstan, but I see it a lot more often in streams I'm watching of Fortune's Keep players because it only has a 30-round mag. But I guess its time to kill is very competitive, and for that reason, a lot of people are using it. But as
it was because people were glitching the 40 round. That's why it was popular, because you were getting the 40 round mag from the conversion kit, and that's why it was popular for a while. But I think as of yesterday, I want to say they totally fixed that, because they fixed it so you couldn't equip it anymore, but people who still had the class set up could still run the 40.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure now that's even been fixed, so now you have to run a 30. Which, you won't see nearly as many people doing it if that's the case.
I did see Biffle running the 30, though.
Really?
Yeah.
In ranked or what?
Yeah, ranked Resurgence, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does make some sense on Resurgence still, even, because, the time to kill is very good. It's just like you're reloading constantly.
Right, exactly. And another thing to keep in mind, as Tanner pointed out, is like, the time to kill is good on it, but if you sprinkle in headshots, the Ram 7 still shines a lot. It has a really good headshot multiplier still, even though it was nerfed. And that is like super relevant. That was a good observation. And then one other thing, surprisingly, that people are talking about, but I haven't actually seen yet, although I'm going to try it myself today, is one of my favorite guns, the STB from MW2. This is apparently the only MW2 gun that is competitive in Warzone right now, for whatever reason. And people on Twitter and stuff are saying, like, this can be quite good. Although, again, I haven't seen anyone using it myself, nor have I run it myself, but I will be running it today. And a nice part of that, too, is that you can easily run a silencer on that gun, which is what I'll be doing. And you can easily run an optic on that gun. And neither of which is the case really for the MTZ meta setup nor the RAM setup. So if you like having that zoom optic, and if you like being off radar, off minimap, then maybe try the STB from MW2, slap an eagle's eye on that, slap the suppressor on it, long barrel, Bruin heavy whatever grip, and the 42 rounder. And the biggest downside there is, I think, the 42 rounder. That's the biggest magazine you can get. But that's not terrible. It's not great, but it is what it is. So that's another thing to try. I haven't used it myself, but I'm going to today, and I'll let you know how that goes. But even if the time to kill is worse than like the RAM and the MTZ, which I'm sure it is, it's really good being off radar, especially right now when everyone's not. And you do get some zoom as well, which is also quite nice. So that's something maybe you guys want to try if you're zoom optic silencer enjoyers. And then in terms of the short range meta, I'm still seeing swarms, I'm still seeing HRMs, but now we'll get into some first impressions. Here's the good section. One of the new guns, the Ram 9, the SMG. This is absolutely meta as well. Teep has been running it, and he's like top 250 ranked Resurgence right now. It's got a great, profile. 50 round mag, fast handling, very good strafe speed. I think better than the HRM9 actually. ADS strafe speed, which is really nice for SMGs. Very fast, forgiving fire rate.
Oh, Metaphor built that strafe build. Is that what you saw that you're thinking of? He built this crazy strafe build with the Ram 9. That is wild how fast you strafe with it. It is wild.
Yeah, so that's really good, and it's got like a perfectly usable damage range as well. Like its default damage range, I want to say, is like 12 or 13. So you're not getting really zoned very often if you're using it. So that's like one of the good first impressions we have, is that at least one of the new guns is mixing up the meta a little bit. Now, on the downside, it still feels like an SMG. It's not like a unique new gun that has entered the meta. It's another fully auto high fire rate SMG that's entered the meta. But it's at least a different gun, and now there are a couple, there are still, I should say, a lot of options for the close range meta, and they've been expanded with this patch because of the new guns we've gotten, or at least the new gun. And evidently, as Tanner's written down here, both of the new guns are meta contenders. Tell me more about that, because we were a little skeptical of the BP-50, the new AR.
Yeah, I mean, the mag is definitely holding it back for sure, but it has a good time to kill. It has good irons. It is, like I'd said when last Saturday's episode, I think I said the BP-50 irons are, it seems like it's going to be somewhat similar to the RAM, and that it has good irons. People will run the irons, and it doesn't have that screen shake, doesn't have that real bad visual recoil, doesn't have the irons bouncing around like MW2 guns, and it is that way. But yeah, so it's got a good time to kill. It's just that 45 round mag holding it back. So I don't know. Sometime this year, I bet we'll see Raven make some changes to magazine sizes and more drastic changes to guns, like we've seen in the past. So maybe the BP-50 will get a 50 or a 60 round mag. Maybe the MTZ 762 will get a 40 round mag that you can actually equip. That's on a bug. But yeah, it is. I mean, even the XRK Stalker now you can one shot with that thing. So there are 3 guns that are now meta that were otherwise. I mean, obviously we didn't have the guns, but we've kind of had a thing in the last year with Warzone 2 where we would get new guns and they would just be totally unusable. It's like, why even add a new gun? And that was always the thing. It's like, we got this new gun. It's
and
awful.
The RPK is still the best gun.
Everyone's still running the RPK in Season 5 when we've gotten 10 new guns by that point that are all unusable because Infinity Ward is a terrible dev studio and they really suck. And they should not exist, of course.
And they're not good. And they're a bad company.
But yeah, so also. it's really nice having this. So yeah, the SMG meta for sure right now is AMR9, HRM, and the RAM 9. Those are the 3 meta SMGs people are running. In my opinion, HRM is still the best because it's like sprint to fire is like 80 milliseconds or something. The Rams is like over 200. It's too good, and it has amazing irons, especially when you put that long barrel on, which I've been running because I run it with my cat sniper. So I've been running that. Amazing, perfect irons. Reloads quick, 50 round mag. Such a fun little gun. Again, no visual recoil on that gun really either. Doesn't bounce around too much. So that feels amazing for me. I think that's still the best close to medium range SMG right now. But they're all definitely very good, and most people are using, I think, the RAM 9 right now. Yeah, kind of experimenting a little bit with it. But HRM, I think, is overall still just, you can't beat it. But yeah, that's nice that we have all those. And then yeah, the XRK Stalker, I haven't used it since Thursday when I talked about what I said, and I stand by what I said. 70 meters, not enough for Urzikstan at all. And on like Keep or something, since that map has such bad flow, it's hard to predict where people are going to be. It's not people peeking a roof like on Vondel or something. So like on Keep, I don't think you can get away with running a sniper ever, really. But yeah, for like Vondel, like we said on Thursday, I think that makes sense, actually. It makes sense to use the XRK Stalker on a map like that. But overall, I think it's just held back by that damage range. When the cat, I mean, you can down people from across the map. I downed a guy from Lowtown yesterday who was on Trump Tower. It was 550 meters. I was just laying there trying to snipe these guys. I got, I think, 6 cracks, and then finally because it was a whole team up there. I got 6 cracks total, and then finally one of the guys actually got the down. I was like, nice. I was just sitting there for like 2-3 minutes shooting at him. They were trying to shoot back at me. They never hit. Yeah. But yeah, it's like most of my kills with the cat are way more than the one-shot range for the XRK Stalkers. I don't think it's viable on Urzikstan personally. And we play very aggressive too. So yeah. But yeah, maybe for Vondel or something it makes sense. Rebirth, it'll probably make a lot of sense. But overall, I wouldn't use the XRK Stalker on Big Map BR right now. Yeah.
But adding that one-shot functionality still is a good thing for sure.
Oh yeah, it's great. And that gun, it feels so good. ADS is really quick. It's a great feeling little gun. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So next time we play some Vondel, I'm definitely gonna try it there.
Yeah. And on the HRM versus RAM 9 thing, yeah, that is one of the big benefits of the HRM for KBAM. Is it does have like no visual recoil. The RAM 9 definitely has some. It's not like unusable on KBAM, but the visual recoil is pretty noticeable depending on your build. And that's not really a problem at all if you're a controller user like myself or most players. But if you are on KBAM, that is going to be annoying. And if you could just use an HRM and not have to deal with that, you probably should. If I were playing on KBAM, cringe, I would be using an HRM. But since I'm not, I'm a controller using GigaChad. I've been enjoying the RAM a lot just because it's new. But they're both very, very good. So moving on, Quick Fix working as intended has been very nice as well. Now, there has been an issue with the update to the irradiated perk. They buffed irradiated. They made it such that you take 20% less gas damage rather than 10%. And more importantly, they made it so that having irradiated allows you to plate while in gas. So what some people figured out was that if you run irradiated and quick fix, you can be plating in the gas and just like never take gas damage. Yeah. So people would just have a bunch of plates in their backpack and armor boxes, and they could just like stay alive indefinitely in the gas because they would be able to insert a plate in gas because of the irradiated perk functionality. And then because of quick fix, as soon as you insert the plate, your health regen would start immediately. So you could just like live forever in the gas if you had that combo. So the devs were like, all right, we need to fix this right now. So we're going to make quick fix not start the health regen when you insert a plate. This is a temporary measure while we look into solving the gas exploit that I just mentioned. So quick fix will go back to working in a way, I imagine, where as soon as you insert a plate, your health regen starts, but they need to figure out how that like gas playing exploit can be overcome in some other way in the meantime.
Yeah.
But once that is working as intended, before they did this little quick fix, I didn't mean to do that.
On Friday, yeah.
Yeah. Before that, between season 2 and that change, quick fix was working 100% consistently. As soon as you inserted a plate, your health regen would start. That's really good, and it makes quick fix a very good option in addition to tempered. In addition to that, and I think more importantly, the faster health regen, both in multiplayer and in Warzone, is also quite noticeable and a really good thing for the pacing of this game. So before in Warzone, if you take damage, it will be 7 seconds until your health starts to regenerate. Now it is 5 seconds, I believe. I
think Warzone is 6. I think it was multiplayer was 5, Warzone was 6, I think, wasn't it?
The numbers were different for multiplayer and Warzone. I just don't remember what they were. But whatever they did for Warzone, they chose a good amount of time because you do want some delay. Because obviously, if I'm like chasing some guy and I get him really weak and I keep chasing him, I want that delay to be long enough to where I get rewarded for having gotten the guy weak and he doesn't just immediately start regenning in like a second. So you still want to have some advantage for having done damage to someone 3 seconds ago. Like, you still should get rewarded for that. And you do, because the regen is longer than 3 seconds. But it's not so long now that I'm like just sitting in a corner with my thumb up my butt, just waiting to play the game because the regen is just like cumbersome and too long. I think they've struck a good balance right now with the health regen delay, where it's like, you still don't want to get shot, but if you do, you're not going to have to wait forever for your health to regen. I think they struck a good balance with that. And in addition, and more importantly even, I think, once your health does start to regen, you're full health pretty quick now. really quick, in fact. And that is just a good thing. If you're going to have the delay be like 5 seconds or 6 seconds or whatever it is now, that's long enough. Once the regen starts, get me to full health like quickly. There's no point in it being as slow as it was before. So those are both very good changes for the pacing of the game, while not making it trivial to like do damage and then chase a guy or something, or not making that like useless to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that they struck a good balance with that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just nice knowing that it's like working correctly every time now. Like if somebody hits me with a sniper and I'm one shot, it's nice to be able to just lay prone when quick fix is working now, start inserting my plate, and I'm regenerating health right away now. So it's really nice that it's finally working 100% as intended. I don't fully understand though why from their point of view, why removing the beginning of health regen when inserting a plate, why they did that rather than just take irradiated perk out from the game. I don't understand that. It seems like it's so easy to just remove a perk, but obviously it's not. So, I mean, hopefully they fix this issue like Monday or Tuesday.
I wonder what they should do.
It's going to be kind of annoying. I haven't even thought about what they should do. I don't know. I put no thought into that because I would never run that perk anyways. It's just like one of those gimmick perks again that somebody found out a way to glitch it, and that's the only reason it's getting any sort of usage. Nobody's going to run it still. I don't know what they will do with it. But that's the way Warzone goes. They're like, it's always been so few perks are usable. Because like they have to give you options for like certain scenarios, but at the end of the day, there are usually like 4 or 5 perks that people are going to run.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Absolute's correct. I think the long-term solution is just like restore quick fix to its old functionality. So as soon as you insert a plate, your health starts to regen. But quick fix just doesn't do anything if you're in gas and you don't have a gas mask on.
Because it doesn't even work that way if you don't also have irradiated anyways.
Right. Because you can't insert plates.
Yeah.
I think that's
maybe
like
that's
the
why
solution.
they made the change to quick fix then, because maybe that's what they have in mind already. That's what they're going to change. That makes sense. If so, yeah, that's a good idea. But yeah, anyways, next thing here, the ground loot feels really good. They did in fact remove most of the MW2 guns. There are still some there, but the ones that are there generally pretty decent. Like the
Geist.
The Geist has a cute little build. There's one with an iron, or not an iron sight. There is one with an iron sight, but there's one with an optic. That's a cute little build. Big fan of that. But yeah, they finally did it. They changed the ground loot. There are a lot of good SMG builds. Most of the stupid builds are gone of guns you don't want. There are too many FR advancers at Avancers? I don't even know what that is called. Avancer. Let's maybe remove that one. That one's all over the place. And then of course, get rid of the MCW 6.8. There are like 2 builds, I think. I promise you no one is ever taking that over a starting pistol. Those need to go so bad. They're all over the place too. But aside from that, the ground loot really, really good. Got a nice little shake up. Yeah.
The ground loot's pretty solid. I don't think there's any MW2 guns besides the Avancer and Geist. I think that's it. I can't think of any other ones. There might be another one or two.
There
probably are
more.
But I just can't think of them. Yeah.
We also get loadout so quickly now too, so we're not really like looking or fighting with ground loot for too often for a long time. I mean, but
yeah, agreed.
Anyways, one of those little minor changes that really helps the game a lot. So next one here too, the UAV TAC map notification. So now you get the red square around your minimap when somebody in your area, when you are on somebody else's UAV, basically is how it works. I think this really helps the flow and speed of the match because you'll start pushing an area or balloon to a POI. You'll see that UAV icon on the map and it gives you intel that someone is in that area. So then instead of just saying like, all right, I don't see anybody, I don't hear anything, we're just going to hit the balloon again and leave. Now you're going to stay there and you're going to look for that team and you're going to get in a lot of fights that way. So it gives you that intel that someone is in the area, but it's not too strong because, I mean, they can be anywhere in, what is the total range of like 300 meters or something?
I don't know. That's a good question. That sounds about right.
I forget what it is.
Maybe 200?
Is it like 300, 250, 300? I don't know. But another thing it helps with too is like, you think less players are walling because now it could be like, oh, somebody had a UAV up. It could have been those guys. So really, really great little change. Glad we finally got this.
It actually does make identifying wallers way easier. Yeah. Because if some guy is pre-aiming me as I crest a like rooftop and I don't see that, then I know that I wasn't on their UAV because none of them had UAV. This happened to us not yesterday, but the day before. We were in downtown. I landed on this rooftop because we popped a UAV, so we knew these people were there. And I see that there's like a team on the ground in front of me. So I'm walking up to the ledge of the roof, and as soon as I peek the ledge, I'm dead. I'm instantly downed. And I'm like, what the heck? So I look, my eyes fly to my mini map, and I do not see a red square around it. And then I die, I bleed out, and I look at the kill cam. First of all, the guy is level 16. Cool. Second of all, he is pre-aiming right where I'm about to peek. And I know I'm not on UAV, and he's level 16. And I say, oh, this guy's obviously cheating. Super obviously, clear as day, cheating. And then our teams, everyone keeps fighting. And then the guy kills Tanner. And then Tanner watches the kill cam. And he's like, oh, this guy is absolutely cheating.
Yeah.
So we're like, yeah, cool. This guy's for sure walling. And before this mechanic existed, it could have been possible that he popped a UAV and we were out of range, so we didn't get the voiceover. And then we came into the UAV range, didn't know it because the mechanic wouldn't have existed in this hypothetical. And then we would have been wondering, did they have UAV or is this guy cheating? But now we basically know for certain that guy was walling because he killed Tanner in the same way. Right? He was like pre-aiming something and he had no business knowing you were there.
As soon as I peeked my head up, I'm just getting ripped off it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool. It's a cool feature for that reason. But more importantly, it's just it's a nice, again, like we were saying on Thursday, my experience has borne this out. It's a nice feature to have because it makes UAVs less strong, but still strong enough to be worth using. And I think that's a good thing. So like, you know, now I know when I'm on UAV when I maybe wouldn't have otherwise known before the mechanic. So I'm going to get ambushed less often, but it's still way better to have UAV than not, even though people around you know that you've popped one. So that's really good because dying in Warzone or any FPS game to someone that you don't know is there, that you don't know is even in your vicinity, not even exactly where they are, but like you don't even know a team is here and then you die to them. That's really annoying and frustrating and not fun at all for anyone. Now that's going to happen a lot less often. You still aren't going to know where they are if they have UAV up, but you're going to know someone's around, so you'll play a little more carefully. While having the UAV is still a huge advantage, and you still want to pop them. So it's a good little feature that I'm a big fan of. It didn't like ruin UAVs, but you also just like don't get ambushed quite as often. So it's really solid. I'm a big fan of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, great little quality of life change with this season. The next one here too. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I have yet to die or I think even take damage from a precision airstrike when I was outside of that little zone on the TAC map, right? So it shows the flight path now, shows the direction it's coming from, and it shows the area it's going to hit. There are definitely a couple bugs with getting the notification on my screen or the announcer notification. Like I think you had mentioned this Thursday, right?
Correct.
That there was one, yeah. So
I did not get a
one of the
games, and I absolutely should have. Yeah.
And I don't think one of the games, you weren't there. It was me, Jake, Lag, and Cope. It was like final circle. Lag and I were behind on this hill. All of a sudden, he's like, "Oh, there's an airstrike like thing on the map," and it was already like doing its run and shooting. And we were inside of the notification, and neither of us got an announcer noti or a banner noti. So definitely still a little bugged. But thankfully, the TAC map shows it now, and that was the only reason we knew. Otherwise, we would have both died to a no-noti airstrike, right?
Yes, exactly.
So I didn't think this day would ever come. It's very nice as well to see the direction it's coming from, because yesterday, we were fighting a team. I was in a building. They called in an airstrike, right? So, like, you think it's going to be coming from them, but it could be from a third party. You really don't know. And so it was called by them. I'm in a building, and I see the flight path. And so I'm like, okay, I should be able to stay in this building. And if I get in this corner from the direction it's coming, it won't go through a window. It won't go through a door. It won't damage me, right? That's what I do. I sit in this one corner. It sweeps, hits my building twice. I don't take any damage, even though I was in the flight path. Whereas before, I wouldn't know exactly where to stand because I don't know where it's coming from. So I'll be like, all right, I'm going to try this corner. I hope it doesn't come through this door or this window on this side. But since I know where it's coming from, I stood on the correct side to stay safe from it, and I was away from the windows and doors that were on the other side of the building. So again, I didn't take damage from it there. So it, you know, a lot of these times too where we think like we're getting damaged through walls, it's because it goes through a window or door and you didn't know the direction of the flight path. Right. So now that you know, you can avoid that often. And they're still good. I mean, I still got multiple downs with them. They're still going to be great if you get a down with the snipe and then calling an airstrike right away on the roof. It's still going to happen all the time, but yeah. The BS involved with getting hit and dying to them is pretty much gone just because they added that little notification on the attack. So yeah, massive W change here. I'm glad they finally did this.
Yeah, for sure. The idea was always good, and it was good on paper. And then once we learned that we were going to be getting it in the game, the only question, of course, and this is always a question with Call of Duty, is, okay, good idea for a feature. Can you execute on this idea?
Yeah.
Is it actually going to work well in game? Is it going to be reliable, consistent, and accurate? And the precision airstrike TAC map overlay is absolutely extremely consistent, shockingly consistent. Like, I have been in the path in the wide open, and I move like a pixel outside of the little pill-shaped overlay, and I take no damage. So it is like pixel perfect accurate, at least so far.
And I didn't expect that, to be honest.
I did not expect
it to still take damage outside of that path, but I haven't.
Yep, exactly. So it was implemented even better than I anticipated it would be. So not only is it a good idea for a feature, but they have executed it correctly. And that's a great point Tanner brought up that I didn't even think of. When you know the flight path, you will die in buildings less often if you're thinking about that. Because if there are like a bunch of windows in the building you're in and you know the precision's going to be on you and you can't get out, get close to a window that is not like open to the path that you now know of on the map. That's a great point that I didn't think of. But yeah, so you should, in theory, if you leverage this information, die in buildings way less often now.
Yeah.
And that's really nice as well. Now, to be clear, I'm sure you're still going to die in buildings when there are no windows.
Yeah, probably.
Because Ted Timmons, but still better. Still better than it was before. So yeah, just a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah, great change.
Yeah.
Another little minor quality of life change as well. So when you die now, if you go to the gulag, you win your gulag, you come back, you hit the ground, 10 seconds later, your skull icon from where you died will disappear finally. So basically, they've made it so that skull icon is on the map a lot longer for you, so you can find your loot. Great little small feature. I've used this numerous times now, right? No more trying to figure out exactly where you died. No more asking your teammates, I don't know where I died. Does anyone know where my body was? Can you ping my loot? Do you guys see my stuff? I don't remember where I was. It was so chaotic. So many things were happening. That's not an issue at all anymore. Fantastic little change. Just show the skull longer so I know exactly where to land in it. It's been working great.
Yep. Yeah. And there are just no downsides to this. Like, it's just good. It's just better than it was before. And a lot of these things that we got with this season equate to less bullcrap means less time wrestling with poor mechanics or poor features, and that means more time just playing the video game. So when loot drops in a circle instead of all on the same pixel, that means I can pick up the loot I want more quickly, which means I can go play the game sooner because I have to spend less time grappling with trying to loot what I want. Or kill streaks auto-equipping once you call them in means less time I have to spend in my backpack re-equipping my next UAV, which means more time spent just playing the video game. Health regen delay being lowered means less time just sitting in a corner waiting for my health to regen and more time just playing the video game. The death skull icon staying around long enough for me to go find the loot that I know is somewhere around here means I get on my loot quicker, I loot it quicker, and I get back to playing the video game sooner. Because either way, I'm going to get my loot. If you don't give me the death skull, that's fine. I'm still going to find my loot. I'm not going to like not use a loadout anymore. I'm going to find my loot, but it's just going to take me longer. So then that's more time doing things I don't want to do and less time just playing the video game. But all of these features, it's just easy quality of life, get things done quickly so I can go play the game more. And that helps tremendously because even though they are little things, you have to contend with them every single game. So if you play for 3 hours, all of these quality of life changes has saved you a total of like actually 15 minutes of your life where you're playing the game instead of trying to loot something or find something or whatever. And that's a huge deal over time. And it really makes the game a lot more fun and increases the pacing of the game as well, which is just great. It's just another like something that seems kind of small on paper that is not small because these things add up over time and you have to deal with them every single game. So make them good. Yeah. It's a way bigger deal than it sounds like, actually. Yeah.
That's all of these things. That's why, like you said at the beginning of this, everyone's all thinking, oh, Fortune's Keep, rank resurgence, these are the big things. But it's like, it's really not. We had like 10 quality of life changes that actually drastically changed how the game feels right now. And that is what made the game feel a lot different, not getting Fortune's Keep. I'm already bored of Fortune's Keep. Hey, there you go. But these other changes that just do nothing but improve the game permanently going on, that's really good. That's really, really good. One less thing you have to worry about. One less minor, awful bug or something that has been in the game for a long time. Precision airstrikes. We've died to hundreds of precision airstrikes in buildings since Warzone launched in 2020. Literally. That's probably finally gone now. 4 years later, they finally figured something out. Should it have happened 3 years ago? Yeah, definitely. But they finally did it, and it helps a lot. It helps a lot.
Yeah. Just all these like inconveniences that just add up to like frustrate you so much. They're just getting rid of. They're just one by one. They're picking them off like little lice. Yeah. Yeah. We're getting a delousing, and it feels good. So yeah. And on that topic again, as I mentioned briefly, the streak auto equip, kill streak auto equip thing. This is really nice. If I'm holding, a UAV or I have a UAV equipped or whatever, and a precision is my stowed in my backpack, there's no reason why that shouldn't auto equip, and now it does. And again, like I had just said, that means less time doing things I don't want to do. I don't play Warzone to interact with the backpack mechanic. The backpack mechanic is in service of playing the first-person shooter game, not the other way around. So making it such that I don't have to open the backpack when I don't need to is great. Less time in my backpack, more time moving my character and aiming and looking around in the first-person shooter game. Solid quality of life change there. The flight path lingering as well has been helpful. As I mentioned on Thursday, this is going to be a little more clutch than you guys think. And Jake explicitly made a comment yesterday about this. We landed somewhere and I think got in an early gunfight. We were kind of wrapped up in whatever we were doing. And then we cleaned house. Someone got close to me, so I killed them because I'm a controller main. And don't make that mistake. And then we were all set and we're like, okay, where should we go now? So we opened the map and then the flight path was still there. So we're like, oh, okay, cool. Now that we still see the flight path, none of us remembered. We don't have eidetic memories or anything. We know where people are very likely to be because this is where the flight path was. So people probably reasonably dropped within this area along this line. Let's follow the line up. And sure enough, we did. There were 2 teams over there. We third-partied both of them. And that wouldn't have been possible unless one of us was an autistic savant who remembered the flight path, or more likely, the mechanic got added. So that was really cool too. Good little info there.
Mm-hmm. The streak auto equip is an important one because there was one time yesterday where I had a UAV and an airstrike, and I bought the airstrike second. So then I equipped the UAV instead because I was going to pop it, right? So I popped it, and then I wasn't even thinking about it. And a little while later, I realized, oh yeah, my airstrike's already equipped now.
Right.
I don't have to open my backpack at all anymore. Cool.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah. And you might even forget
there's
that
just
you
so much less
the
backpack
precision
management in general now.
Yeah.
Period.
Yes.
Because of the ammo situation, always having ammo for all guns. Yeah, it's great.
Yep.
I'm actually happy with the backpack system now. I don't even, it used to be during when Infinity Ward was in control of Warzone 2, it used to be more remove the backpacks. They don't know what they're doing. But actually now it's fine. Honestly, I'm okay with it. At the end of the day, I think I would still rather just have the backpack system gone entirely, but it's the best it's been right now by far. So
yeah, for sure. It's great.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Next thing here. So this is another change. They added a new feature where if you ping an enemy or if your teammate pings an enemy, say they're 50 meters away running directly at you. If you're looking at them, you see the red diamond above their head, right? And if you ADS before, that red diamond would still be there, and it would be hard to track the person. It'd be hard to see them because it essentially covered their head or something. It just felt awful. Well, now when you ADS at that person, as you're going into the ADS, it's fading out. So by the time you're fully ADS and looking at the person, the ping is gone. And that's so nice. Yeah. Because now you can actually ping things again. It used to just always be, please remove your ping. Please remove it.
Right.
Now, they need to do the same thing with just the other pings in general, because my teammate, because I still snipe all the time. So my teammates will ping a roof trying to ping a guy. They're he's right here. So then there will be a big green or yellow triangle right there where the guy was peeking. Those don't fade out now, right? So I'm ADS looking at that, and I have to ask my teammate, move your ping, please. Because when that guy peeks, that's still going to be covering him. So I wish they would kind of just do that with all of the pings. But as of right now, it does it with the red enemy pings, and it's really, really nice. It's fantastic.
I thought they did it with the normal pings as well.
No, it was just the enemy pings. It even said that in the patch notes. I'm pretty sure.
Interesting. Yeah. What I was going to say is this is a
players
good
aiming
change.
down sight, live enemy pings will now fade away. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the enemy pings.
Got it. Yeah, this is a good change. Obviously, it's a step in the right direction. However, the pings are still not perfect. And so like it fades when you're un-ADS'd or when you're ADS'd. So that's good, but it only works for enemy pings, evidently. It needs to work for all pings, like Tanner just said, number one. Number two, in addition, this needs to also do the same thing when you're un-ADS'd looking at a ping. Because, like, if you're sniping, you don't want to be scoped in, like in the situation Tanner described. I ping a rooftop. Hey, Tanner, there's a guy there. Kill him. And then Tanner's like, okay. And if he wants to keep an eye on that rooftop and not be obstructed by the ping, he has to ADS on the rooftop, but you don't want to be doing that while you're sniping necessarily. You want to be able to still be scanning the whole play space. And if a guy peeks, you see him in your peripheral vision while you're un-ADS'd, and then you want to be able to ADS on him and shoot at him. So there needs to also be a feature where it fades, the opacity gets lowered in proportion to how close to the center of your screen that ping is, whether you are ADS'd or even un-ADS'd as well. It shouldn't only work while ADS. If I'm looking directly at a ping, but I'm in hip fire, it needs to also fade. Because you don't want to be like, you don't want to force people to have to ADS when they otherwise wouldn't. And the only reason they're doing it is so that the ping fades for them. That's not great. So this is better, the pinging, than it was before. But I think it should work while un-ADS'd as well. Maybe not fade out 100% like it does while ADS, but maybe make it like 20% opacity. So it's very see-through, but you can still see it if you're un-ADS'd. That would be good. And it needs to, again, work for all pings, not just the live pings. Or the red pings. That would be even better for sure. Because then I wouldn't have to change how I'm playing how I would otherwise play the game just to wrestle with your bulky pings that I can't see through. That would be better. But still, this is better than it was before. It just needs more, I think.
Still, the pings still aren't as good as they were in Warzone 1. Because it could also, like, instead of just disappearing, you just put it above their head more too. Because there will also be situations now where, like, in buildings or something, where my teammate's gonna ping some guy that's in a dark corner, and I'm gonna ADS looking for him, and I won't be able to find him. But if the pings were just above their head more, so it didn't obstruct anything, and I ADS and still saw that ping, that would be actually more helpful than what they've done with this. But I don't know. They chose to do this, and it's fine. But I'm sure there will be situations actually where I end up getting annoyed because I ADS and I can't find the guy. So I don't know. We'll see. But as of right now, it feels really good, specifically with sniping. So it's not some guy doesn't peek with a head glitch, on a roof, and I can actually see his head. That's nice.
Yeah, definitely an improvement.
Yeah. Today's episode is brought to you by SBMMOFF. If you're tired of the sweaty COD lobbies, then we have just the product for you. Go to SBMMOFF.com and use code Dropshot for $5 off their lifetime VPN and geofence. No more monthly VPN fees, just one payment, and you have access to all future updates. For those of you wondering, no, a VPN is not against the Activision terms of service. And this product is only for PC. Sorry, console players. Their VPN service is a legitimate way to change your region in order to connect to servers across the globe and find easier games. We know how sweaty those evening lobbies can be after a long day at work, so why not trick the game into thinking you live in a different part of the world where it's early morning? The VPN allows you to play on local servers with low ping while the game actually thinks you're far away. When combined with the geofence, you're able to play on servers outside of your available local servers, meaning a player in North America can choose to 100% play on European servers and vice versa. It even comes with a built-in world map time zone sheet so you can decide which server is the best at that current time. As you can see on the screen here, you have many different region options from Argentina, Italy, Kenya to Taiwan, the list is extensive. These tools allow you to find easier and more variants in lobbies instead of being crushed by COD's manipulative skill-based matchmaking system. SBMMOFF is the only VPN and geofence service that is dedicated 100% to Call of Duty players. Go to SBMMOFF.com and use code Dropshot for $5 off. If the big streamers can VPN, you can too. Another little change here, buy stations moving around. So they kept the total number of buy stations on the map. They moved them all around. That does so much to change the flow and pacing of a map. A lot. Because people pretty much pick their drop spots based on where a buy station is, right? So even our spot has kind of changed because you're like, okay, if we land cargo a lot, now we need to land in this area of cargo because the buy's right here.
Yeah.
Right? And it's totally changed where people even land in that little area. Like they used to land in certain buildings and now there always seems to be a team landing right in fire station, which is right next to the buy. And it just changes that a lot. And then there used to be a buy at the little house up that hill. That one's not there anymore, right? So people that would land there generally now land down at cargo instead. It just changes the flow of everything.
Yeah.
It is something so minor
you're right.
that a lot of people don't think about, but this entirely changes the flow of the game.
Yeah, it does.
So I really hope we keep getting... I would love a seasonal refresh to buy stations every single season, actually, now.
Yeah.
Now that we've had this, something minor they could easily do. Keep the total number on the map, just change where they are.
Yep, just like they did. Yeah, just hopefully they keep doing it. No complaints here, and you're right. I didn't think about it, but like we really enjoy landing cargo. So before season 2, we would land cargo, but we would land specifically very close to the water, on like the eastern edge of cargo, because that's where the buy was. Right. So like very close to the cranes. Now that buy is gone and it got moved more northwest toward the fire station and like toward what is that? Seaport? Is that the
Which there and there was already there was a buy up there, but it wasn't exactly where it is now. So it kind of just like it just changed that whole area to now be the hot spot where that balloon, because there's a balloon there too, like right in the middle. Because there were 2 buys down at cargo, actually. There was one on the water, and then there was one further north inside like the sea cans in that area by like another little sniper tower there.
Yeah.
So those are both gone. So now there's just the one. So people don't land at that area of cargo as much as anymore. They land up where we land. So it creates like a different hot drop.
Yeah, it's on the other side of the tracks, the train tracks. So it's like, so even though we're landing in the same POI, not really. It's like a whole different play space. And that's really cool. Yeah, because it wasn't hard for the devs to do. It didn't require a whole like dev team to add a new mechanic or anything. Very easy, simple thing for the devs to do. That really freshens things up for like no downside. Like it's just like freshening things up a little bit. Super, super solid change. And again, it's like, it seems little, and it is sort of, but also it's not. We've gotten in so many gunfights in different areas than we otherwise would just because of them moving the buy stations. And that's cool.
Yeah.
We've gotten in like
game
dozens of gunfights up there. And we used to get in like, 3 for a season. Like, it's great. It's cool.
So it's like before in season 1, the closest buy to Trump Tower in downtown was like north of it, right? More towards the water. So you had to jump off, you'd float, you'd land on the buy. Now
we'd always go to that one. Yeah.
There's one directly under Trump Tower. What they could do next season is add a buy on top of Trump Tower, which may be a little broken, but also that's going to create a totally different gameplay loop when it's late game and some team is holding Trump Tower with the buy station. They have a massive advantage there, but it's also going to make people want to get to that buy station. It's going to create a lot of new fights on that building itself.
Yeah, it's going to make it way hotter.
Totally different scenarios. I really hope they change these buys every single season.
Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic little change.
Agreed.
Another little change. They didn't say this anywhere, and this may have actually been buffed sometime in season 1, because the last few days of the season when we were playing, it felt like there were a lot more infill events, and it still feels that way. So it does seem like they buffed the rate that infill events happen, whether it's the strongholds, the cash drops, the loadout drops. There's one more, isn't there? Or is it just those 3?
There's the loadout drop, the cash drop, the stronghold event.
I think it's just those 3 then. Okay, yeah. Those have been happening a lot. I would say the majority of the time we play, actually, there is an event rather than not being an event. It's pretty close. It seems almost like 50-50, but we were getting a lot of those. And I like that a lot because, again, that changes the beginning of the game. If there's a stronghold open, every single time we're like, okay, you know, we're planning on landing here. And then plane starts coming in. We're like, oh, there's a stronghold event. Like, oh, there's a stronghold here. Let's go here instead.
Exactly.
Creates a new area to fight off rip. Loadout drops. Oh, let's land here. Let's just land right on our loadout. Creates a hot drop. Then you have your loadout right away. Then you just start running around and, you know, fighting people. So, I don't know for sure if they actually buffed it, but it definitely feels this way because this was a complaint early on when the game launched that I had about how the matches always felt the same because it was a default circle every single game. The circle ended in the same spot, and there were never any infill events, hardly. And so now that actually happens, it just feels a lot different, I think. It feels great. So, big change.
Yeah. I don't know if they buffed them in that they like made them more common. Maybe they did. Hard to say. But they happen commonly enough, but not all the time, which is good. And even if they did happen every single game, I wouldn't like that, to be clear.
No, but, yeah, you're right.
But if they did, it's still really cool because, like, it does change where you land often. We don't usually land on the cash drops, but when it's a loadout or stronghold one, that'll change the start of our game. It'll change where we land. It'll change where a lot of other people land. And it, again, like moving the buy stations around does, it freshens up the match to match experience. You're not just landing in the exact same spot every single game because that will get stale. And you could say, well, you're not forced to land in the same spot every game. Yeah, but I'm going to, unless you give me a strong incentive not to.
Exactly.
And then when you do give me a strong incentive not to, you're not forcing me to not land there anymore, but you kind of are. And I actually want you to do that because it's going to make me do things I wouldn't otherwise do. And again, give me more novelty than I would otherwise experience, which is fantastic. So, yeah.
And then kind of the last general thing here, positive about the season, is the audio. So when Warzone launched this year, Warzone 3 as they call it, I think footstep audio was in a really good spot for a little while. Then I don't know what happened, but then it started feeling awful again, and then it felt terrible again. Now it's so much better. So they made some audio changes again this season to occlusion. They changed how the flex perk worked, as I've talked about. This is the best it's been in Warzone ever in terms of hearing footstep volume. It's almost like now probably the average COD player is going to start crying because they're going to say it's too loud, and because COD players love dead silence, right? They don't want any footsteps in the game. So now they're probably going to start crying and saying they need to lower the footstep volume.
I haven't seen that yet, and I really hope you're wrong. But
it will happen.
You think so, huh?
Well, actually, it has happened. It's happened on our TikTok because I was talking about.
Oh no!
One of the talks that we posted that was talking about footstep audio. There were a few people that were like, it's so bad, it's so loud, like I can't tell where people are. And it's like, okay, you're right, the directional's not great, but you can hear footsteps. Would you rather just not hear any footsteps at all? That I think the
directional's pretty good, actually.
Well, the thing is, remember when we were playing Keep and we were in Winery on Wood? The audio in there was wild.
Yeah,
it sounded like they're stomping around next to you.
Like a billion people in there. Yeah.
Yes, true. But that's kind of what I'm talking about. But again, what we're talking about right now is big map. We haven't played much Resurgence yet. So I run Flex, and I'm hearing people across the street run across pavement to get to my building. And sometimes I just can't believe it even. So I'll live ping an area. And I'll be like, this guy's 40, 50 meters away. And I'm inside of a building where there are walls that should be causing audio occlusion, according to the devs and the things they've said. And I'll hear this guy's footsteps. I'll hear him sprinting up to me. That has never been the case in Warzone, ever.
Yeah, never.
When Warzone 2 launched, you could hear wood above or below you. And that was something we talked about a lot too when that game launched. It's like, okay, I hear wood, but I don't know where this guy's coming from. But once he's on my level or once he's on pavement or dirt, there's nothing. Yeah. That's not the case anymore. Wood is extremely loud, and you also hear everything else. I just can't believe it. So,
and they're distinct too. Like telling apart wood versus water versus dirt versus pavement is trivially easy to do. Like, oh, that guy's obviously on the street. He's not in the dirt lot that is even closer to our building yet. Like, it's very obvious that that guy is on concrete, which has also not been the case in the past. Yeah. Yeah. And go ahead.
What else was I going to say? Yeah, but I mean, like, besides the actual footstep audio too, it's just like everything is better. Like zip lines, whether it's teammate or enemy, zip lines, ladders, I hear all of that now. Like I'll be inside of a building and I'll be like, some guy's climbing a ladder. I can hear this guy so clearly. I know exactly where he's at on that ladder. I'll hear a zip line now and I was like, oh, somebody's zipping, and I'll look over. This happened one of our matches yesterday. I think when Cope dropped that high kill game when we had to feed him kills and mark everybody and not shoot. You and him both took a zip, and I immediately started hearing a zip, and I was like, what is that? And I looked to my right, and it was you and him the next skyscraper over, like 60 meters away, and I hear you going up the zip. Yeah. Granted, your teammate, and teammate audio is different than enemy. There are variations in the levels. I never would have heard that before. And you can hear enemy zip lines now as well. So just like all of it has gotten a lot better.
Yeah. And based on your description of how the audio works with the flex perk, some people might be saying, like those TikTokers perhaps, this is like too overpowered, it's too strong, it's too easy to hear people. Keep in mind, the reason Tanner's hearing footsteps 40 meters away is because he's sacrificing the best perk slot in the game for flex. So it's not like you get that audio just for free. Like, you're giving up an ultimate perk slot. You're giving up ghost or high alert. So that's like a pretty big cost, first of all. So you might think it's overpowered, but is that more overpowered than high alert? I don't think so. I think they're both just very strong, and you have to pick which one you want. And on that topic, like, yeah, I have not been running flex because the audio has been improved so much by default that I don't really feel like I need it, honestly. I am hearing people way better than I've ever heard them before in Warzone, both in terms of decibel level, like loudness. Like, people are louder than they've ever been, which is good. This is without flex, by the way. The directional is better than it's ever been without flex. And the distinguishing characteristics are better than they've ever been without flex. Meaning, I can easily tell if this guy is on a metal staircase or on wood or on a rooftop. Like, yeah, rooftop audio sounds distinct as well. When someone's running on a roof, it kind of sounds like wood, but not like wood. Like, I know that guy's on a roof somewhere because it sounds so much different than him being in a room in a building on wood. Those are two very different sounds, and they're very distinct, and you can tell which is which, even without flex. So, like, the audio has been improved so dramatically that I would go so far as to say the audio is good. And I would say that with no, oh my goodness, what's the word? There's a word I'm looking for. I can't think of it though. But even, not only is the audio good for Warzone, the audio is just good. No caveats, no stipulations. The audio is just good now. It's like among the best audio I've ever had in any FPS game. And I'm saying this about Warzone, which I never, ever, ever thought was going to happen. I am as surprised as all of you.
Yeah.
But the audio is actually good, period. That is insane. And I can't believe it. And I hope they don't mess it up. But it's just astonishing to me. And Flex makes it even better. But the audio is good enough, in my opinion, that I don't feel like I need to run Flex. Because I will still hear people when I feel like I need to. And therefore, I'd prefer to have high alert. So I've been running high alert. But I've used Flex.
Yeah. And
I've also taken it off. And the audio is great with or without it as well. So like the Flex improvements also, which I don't think Tanner mentioned, where it doesn't like sound like a dramatically different EQ profile anymore. It just sounds better, but not like jarring to equip. That's also really nice. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make using Flex like yeah, super jarring and weird. I'm amazed how good the audio is. So like footstep audio, way better. I also hear parachutes very reliably now. On Thursday, I hadn't had experience with it, but I have now. Rappels, I hear very clearly as well. I don't know how far I'm going to hear a zip line without Flex. I haven't really noticed one way or the other yet, but I will say I haven't been surprised by anyone ziplining once. I've heard them every time I've needed to. So far, so good. And it's kind of the same thing with parachutes. Now, again, the audio isn't perfect yet. We'll get into that. But overall, it's good. And if it never changed again, I would be fine, I think, with the audio. And we'll get into the downsides there in a minute. But one other thing I will add is that the audio is so good that I am once again sometimes thinking my teammates are not my teammates because I hear them very clearly. I distinctly remember yesterday we were in Lowtown. We were all running toward a balloon and I heard someone behind me and I like freaked out and I moved my thumb like a, 10th of an inch to my right, ready to spin on some kid. And it was just Cope. And I was like, oh, I heard someone. And it was my teammate. So I don't know if that is because I'm not used to the teammate audio profile versus enemy audio profile yet, or if it's because teammates' footsteps is not distinct enough from enemy footsteps. But it is possible, and I would say even likely, that we could still use some more distinction between teammate audio profile and enemy audio profile, because I am mixing them up every once in a while.
I think that's something else Flex does. I think that lowers your teammates' footstep audio even more. I think that's another benefit of it. Yeah,
that's possible.
Yeah, because I agree. Like now, like if you're in a building and on wood, and even like people next to you in a building on wood, I think in that situation, with or without Flex, you're still hearing everything because it's so much better. But where Flex is a benefit for sure is, like I said, some guy running across pavement 40, 50 meters away. Because there was one time we were playing yesterday where these guys started rushing. He was probably 25, 30 meters away on my same level, on the ground, on pavement. And they both just catch me off guard. And I was like, why didn't I hear anything there? I'm like, didn't hear those guys. And I said it out loud. And then I realized I had my loadout guns because I got the favorite supply chest, but I didn't have my perks yet. And so like in a situation right there, I guarantee you, had I been running Flex, those footsteps you would hear. It's also very easy to test now that you can stow perk packages.
Oh, true.
Like we could literally go into our game and even just test with teammate audio, like run across the street, with flex on, with flex off, you can immediately tell what the difference would be there. Or just load into plunder or something with your buddy if you guys feel like testing it, something like that. But now that you can stow, real easy way to test it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we should maybe do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, my only gripe so far, and this again is pretty minor, is maybe because they did make like teammates, just for context, they made teammate audio, footstep audio and stuff sound different than enemy footstep audio and stuff. This was, I think, before season 2. I think it was season 1 reloaded. And that is true, and that did work, and teammates do sound definitely different than enemies. I still will contend, though, they could afford to sound even more different than they currently do. That's my only little kind of nitpick in terms of like footstep audio, but it's still distinct enough generally, and still better than the audio's literally ever been in Warzone. So I'm like super, super, super happy with that. Yeah. Not once have I been run up on and said, I couldn't hear that guy. That hasn't happened. And I mean, that used to happen literally every single time I played Warzone. Literally every time I played Warzone for more than 3 matches, I would die to someone I should have heard but didn't. And that has not happened once since season 2, which is awesome, because that's a very frustrating way to die, that you shouldn't die in that situation, and now it doesn't happen. So that's really good. So moving on now to the bad. And this section is a lot smaller than the good. So I guess I'll start with the obvious, and we kind of already said this on Thursday. Fortune's Keep is the bad. Oh my goodness. I should have clipped it. I considered doing it, but I didn't. I was watching Biffle play Fortune's Keep because I'm a controller god now, and I was giving him some tips as well. They banned me. And he died, and then he watched the kill cam, and the guy was literally prone in a bush, like Escape from Tarkov levels of extract camp ratting in a bush. I'm not kidding. The kill cam starts, and all you see is grass, bushes. And then I think what happened is one of the guy's teammates pinged Biffle, so then he crouches from prone so that he's peeking over the bush, and then his screen is mostly bushes, but the top half is open view, and then he just rips Biffle apart. And bro was invisible. Like, you guys remember Caldera, you would complain about bush Wookiees or whatever? That is Fortune's Keep on a lot of areas of the map. I don't know if there were this many bushes in old Fortune's Keep, but I don't remember there being many, but there are a lot here. My first experience actually playing myself Fortune's Keep, my very first gunfight, was in a rose patch or rose garden or something. Like, there were bushes everywhere. I was losing people immediately, even though it was daytime and I was outside and enemies were on the center of my screen. I couldn't see them clearly or at all because there were so many bushes in the way. And I was like, immediately, this is cringe. Stop it. Hire a gardener. But after that, again, watching streams, I've seen people or not seen people in bushes, and then watched kill cams and then saw that they were in fact in bushes, like that Biffle clip I just described. That is really bad. I don't know why there need to be bushes on Fortune's Keep that you can enter. Change it. If anything, have those really crisp hedges that act as like essentially boxes where you can only climb on top of it or use it as like soft cover to like stand around, but you can't walk through. There shouldn't be bushes in an FPS game that you can move your character through, in other words. And there are plenty of those on Fortune's Keep, and you just don't see people in them. super cringe, and it's the only play space in MW3/Warzone right now where there are areas of the map that someone can be in the center of your screen and you don't see them even though the lighting is sufficient. I don't know why, but that alone kind of ruins the map for me, period. On top of that, really bad sun glare as well, which is cringe. I think there are cool things about Fortune's Keep, and once we play it more, we'll talk about those things. Like the extendable bridges, I actually think is pretty cool. My opinion might change on that once I'm actually playing the game, but watching it play out, pretty cool. And like the underground area of Fortune's Keep, there's like a little underground lab. I was watching Teep loot it, and I was like, oh, it's a cool little, it's like a cute little area. But again, I haven't played it myself, so I don't know how it would actually play. But overall, Fortune's Keep is just an L.
Yeah, Fortune's Keep L.
The bushes alone is just a massive L. And that's been a real shame. So that's like the first bad thing, is the biggest new piece of content we've gotten. I don't even want to play. I don't want to interact with the biggest thing that we got in season 2.
Yeah.
That's really bad. That's really not good. And it's because they ruined it with really dumb decisions like sun glare and bushes that they absolutely did not need to do. So
yeah, they like that sun glare, don't they?
And I don't see them changing it. That's the worst part. Like on the map Cartel and Cold War, a couple months after launch, they eventually trimmed all the bushes that were causing the same problem. But I don't really see them doing that for Fortune's Keep because it's such a big map and there are so many bushes. I don't see it happening. And I don't see them really removing the sun glare either. They could. There's precedent for both of those things, but those are only in multiplayer. They reduced the sun glare on a Vanguard map once, and they trimmed the bushes on a Cold War map once. But those were both multiplayer Sixes maps. Will they do it for a Resurgence map? Especially a fairly big one like Fortune's Keep? Maybe, hopefully, but I don't really see it happening. So that's a real shame that it's like they just ruined a map that could have been fun with dumb decisions.
Yeah. I mean, like, Fortune's Keep had no flow, and all they did was make it worse with the new recreation here. So I guess just the new thing is it's the same thing with Ashika. It's now with Fortune's Keep. They just love to have the middle of the map be totally awful and unplayable, you know? Actually, they've been doing it. Caldera, Ashika, they have Castle. This map now, they've blown mid to bits, so it's just awful to fight
true.
there.
True.
They just hate the middle of the maps,
mid.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not mid enjoyers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I kind of was thinking I liked Keep more than I did, and I was misremembering. So it's kind of just not the best to start with, and then they just strictly made it worse. I don't think you can argue that they made it better at all. So what I see
agree.
now,
Yeah,
there are a lot of people on Twitter going around like, please do not touch Rebirth. Like they're going to do something stupid and ruin Rebirth too.
Yeah,
but I
dude,
think they're
true.
smarter than that. I think they know to leave Rebirth alone. But yeah, we'll see. I am a little worried about that. Or Verdansk too. When Verdansk comes back, if it ever does, probably at some point, are they going to just ruin that as well? It just, I don't know, how an earthquake go through there, destroy the whole map. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see for sure.
But yeah, Fortune's Keep's not great. Not great at all so far.
Yep.
But, yeah.
Yeah. So moving on to another bad thing, and this is going back to the audio discussion. As I said, the audio is not perfect. It's good. It's way better than it's ever been, but there are still some problems. Namely, when someone is dive bombing on me, I don't hear them at all. So a player who is yet to pull their parachute but is still descending upon me, I don't really hear that at all. And I should. So like the parachute audio now is really good, and I hear them once they open their chute, But as I said on Thursday, a good player is not going to open their chute until the absolute last moment. And that is often not going to leave you enough time between the audio cue you'll actually hear and them being a danger for you to react. So now, instead of someone running up to your character and then shooting you, and then therefore you dying because you didn't hear someone you should have heard, instead of that being the situation where you die to someone you should have heard but didn't, now the situation is, oh, they landed on me, pulled their parachute at the last second, and as I turned, when I finally got the audio cue, they were already on their feet and I was dead. So you still will get run up on people and die to them, and you should have heard them, but you didn't. But now it won't be in the form of footsteps, it'll be in the form of dive bombers. So when someone is diving onto me, it needs to sound like a flag or a collection of flags in a NASA level wind tunnel. Just massively, very loudly, cloth flapping. Loud, like a gunshot loud. But it's not right now. It's silent, like an owl. Like an owl descending on a field mouse. Hey, I'm not a field mouse, man. Let me hear the thing diving on me. That needs to be louder. In addition, because some of you might be saying, oh, well, it's okay that is absolutely silent, like they are a falcon, because you get announcer VO, where the announcer says, oh, there's an enemy diving on you. Watch the skies, or whatever he says. First of all, I'm done listening to Graves talk. Please stop. Please put a ball gag in his mouth. But more importantly than that, no, the announcer actually doesn't say anything. That announcer VO is wildly inconsistent, and more often than not, I don't get any voiceover when someone's landing on me. That's how it's intended to work. This is one feature that does not work as intended. There are plenty of times where I'm getting dove on, and the announcer doesn't say a single solitary goddamn thing until it is far too late, or he doesn't say anything ever at all. But there have been times where I'm literally watching a kill cam, and then the announcer tells me, enemy in the area, watch the skies. Hey, little late, buddy. A little late, Graves. So the dive bombing needs to be louder, and the VO needs to work properly. And it doesn't. It either doesn't come in at all, or it comes in far too late. Change it. And I don't know if they're going to fix this.
I didn't notice having any. I felt like the voiceovers were usually pretty accurate, because I looked up to this guy so many times. I felt like, because I would always hear him say that there's an enemy overhead. Like,
it seems consistent when people are coming back from Gulag now, which is good, and that was not always true. But when someone is ballooning on me, it does not seem consistent. And those are the people I'm very worried about, because people ballooning inside of me and not coming back from Gulag, but just using a balloon, those are the demons who are obviously kill chasing. If I need announcer VO for anyone, it is them a lot more than people gulagging. Yeah. I need it for both, of course, but I'd want it even more for people ballooning, and that's where it's way more inconsistent, I feel like. But you are right. I have been hearing the enemy in the skies VO very often, but it's very obviously always someone coming back from Gulag. Which is good, and it should work that way, and I'm pleased that it does, but it needs to also work as consistently for just ballooners.
Yeah.
That's
I didn't pay too close of attention to it, but I know I never got landed on and killed from like a thing from not getting a voiceover telling me that somebody was in my area. But yeah, like parachutes are a little bit louder now. But when they're actually diving, that's what is still pretty quiet.
Yeah.
And like what we talked about, where good players will dive and pull their chute last minute, right? So then you don't get a whole lot of intel. So if by chance you miss the VO or it didn't work, then you're just screwed at that point. Yeah. But I think it's been fairly accurate so far from what I've noticed.
I'll keep my ears peeled on that because maybe it did get better. Season 2 is still pretty new, so I'll keep you guys posted. But yeah, the reason I think more than anything that the landing on me VO is inconsistent and not good now is because they didn't say anything otherwise in the Season 2 patch notes. So I'm kind of assuming it just is going to be as trash as it was before Season 2, since they didn't say they addressed it. But maybe, I don't know. I could be wrong.
They didn't say they addressed which part? What are you talking about?
About
the voiceover part?
Yeah.
Well, they did about the balloons. That's what they did say on that was in the patch notes, yeah.
What was in the patch notes exactly?
Players will now hear the intended VO when enemies are landing in their vicinity after using a redeploy drone.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, you're right. I did forget about that. Yeah. So I don't know. I haven't noticed that happen to me yet. So hopefully it does. But we'll revisit this because yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
They almost word that like it was supposed to be working that way, and it didn't. But I didn't think it was. I didn't think you ever heard people. I didn't think you ever got a VO when somebody was landing on you from a balloon anyways. Did they ever? Did even like Caldera, did they do that? I don't think they did.
I think that was supposed to be the intention since Caldera, yes.
And it just never worked or something?
Well, there were times where it worked. Like it worked, sort of, but like it was inconsistent. And I think that was just like still the case. So maybe they like broke it outright in Season 1 and then fixed it again. And that's why it's a patch note. I don't know. But now that we know it's intentional, that you should hear VO, I will pay extra close attention to whether or not I'm getting it for ballooners. Yeah. We will know. Yeah. So we'll let you guys know. But regardless, all of that aside, people diving pre-parachute should still be louder. That's something we can all probably agree on. So moving on from there, the gulag is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. They need to take these lasers off of the weapons. It is so stupid because the audio is great now, better than ever. And so the gulag strat, because of the lasers and how bright they are, is to just aim at a wall and sound whore. And that is not fun at all. It's really dumb, actually. And I hate it.
And people haven't figured that out yet. Yeah. They still run around and just hold angles with the laser. I'm like, dude, I'm not peeking you because I see your laser. You're holding that lane. Yeah, I'm not going to peek you, you know?
Exactly. So it makes everyone just play super ratty or dumb, I guess. So like you can get some free kills by sound whoring that way, but once people figure it out, everyone's just going to be like sitting in their spawn with their laser pointed at a wall and just listening for you. And then like every gulag is going to be just waiting for the rappel. And then you're both going to be forced to push. And then you're going to be pushing with lasers. And then it's a game of chicken. Who's willing to let both of us lose before they push? That's going to be who wins the gulag. It's so dumb. It's really bad. They ruined the gulag with all these lasers, and I don't understand why they did it, because they obviously did it on purpose, because it's not one or two guns. It's literally every single gun. Tanner had said there might be one gun that doesn't have a laser. I don't think that's true. I've been swapping weapons, and every gulag I've gotten...
shotgun, that little short shotgun. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I remember there is a shotgun that had a laser on it yesterday. So maybe there's another one that doesn't. Yeah. But they all have lasers, and it's really dumb.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people complaining about this too. So maybe there's a chance they change this and just remove the lasers, or at least like it is every single gun. Why? There is a very easy strat, and here's what it is. You spawn, you sprint to somewhere around mid where there's cover, you crouch or you lay prone, you ADS at a wall, you listen for the guy. I can hear he's coming left, he's coming right. He can't find me because I'm not moving, because I'm ratting, right? Because you have to rat in the gulag to win. Yep. He starts going into my spawn. thinking he's going to get a spawn kill on me because I'm AFK. I turn around real quick and then I kill him.
Yeah.
I think I've won 9 out of 10 gulags this season so far doing that. That's the strat. Don't pre-aim. Don't hold an angle. Nothing. You can't. You have to hide your laser because they're so bright and obvious.
Yep. Super silly.
It's really bad.
Yeah. And then if the other person is doing that, then what? It's like so annoying because I've done this.
Yeah.
Because that is the strat. But when the other guy's also doing it, you're both just sitting there waiting. Mm-hmm. And then the timer ends and the rappel comes down. And now it's like, okay, do I just let him take the rappel? Do I try and go for the rappel? Is he AFK? Is he trying to reconnect right now? Or is he like just outsmarting me? I don't know. And then it's dumb. Yeah. So anyway, moving on next. This isn't exactly season 2, but I'm going to say it anyway. With season 1 Reloaded, they said they like increased the visibility inside of a couple dozen buildings. That might be true, but I'm going to be honest. I haven't noticed the visibility being any better in a building. Most buildings I can see people inside of on Urzikstan. That was true before season 1 Reloaded, and it's still true now. But there are still a number of buildings where it is way too dark and I die because someone's in there and I don't see them. So maybe I haven't been in one of the 41 buildings that got special attention. I don't know. Yeah. But do it for all the buildings, or again, more importantly, or even better yet, rather, just add lights to all the buildings.
Well, this doesn't even matter for you anymore. You get aim drag through the wall before you even enter the building.
Yeah,
once you're a controller main.
That's true. Yeah, I need to just get more used to the aim drag, but
I think 3 or 4 times. Yeah, in some of the buildings for sure. I think 3 or 4 times yesterday when we were playing, Jake said, "Oh, I just got aim assist through this wall." I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude! Just know somebody's there. It's like that is crazy. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, you don't have to see anybody, but
yeah, you're right. I guess
that is definitely an issue. I don't even know why you brought it up, controller player.
Yeah. Anyway, what do we got next?
Some of the minor yet annoying bugs that I'm shocked they're still in the game are still there. Like the fact that still, if I'm running frags and I'm running smoke grenades and I'm out of them and I kill a guy that has a frag and a smoke on the ground and I run over them, I'm still not picking them up. Like, can we please just figure this out? Please. That's like the last thing. That's like the last minor annoyance left right now. They fixed a bunch of the other things. Just please make it so I pick those up. You didn't auto pick up ammo in Warzone 2 ever, and now you do auto pick up ammo correctly, and now it's tacticals and lethals. Like, please just figure it out. Like, if you do that, I never have to look at their loot again. I just run over their body, and if I see a streak, I grab that. I don't want to have to keep grabbing smoke grenades and frags. It's so annoying. God, I wish they would fix it.
Yeah. And
it's such a stupid little thing that one guy could fix in 5 minutes. It's just like, it's one of those things they don't know it's a bug because nobody talks about it because it's such a minor little thing, but it happens to you every single game, whether you're realizing it or not. You may not even pay attention to it. You may not realize you're out of smokes and frags. You killed 2 guys. You run over bodies. You didn't refill any of that, but you're not even thinking about it. Hey man, you should have 2 frags and 2 smokes right there because you ran over those bodies and they have them, but you don't.
Right.
So really stupid. And then that can go on to lose you the game later because you need a smoke and then you can't make a cross and you die because of it.
Yep, exactly. And
so simple to fix, and they just they haven't fixed it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And this is one of those things that is, I mean, the reason this is such a good season and it's been so nice is, again, we've gotten a lot of quality of life things that just increase the pacing of the game. This is one such change that needs to happen to, again, increase the pacing of the game, because either I just won't have frags and smokes anymore, or I will be aware that I have to manually pick them up, and that's going to slow me down, because once I get a kill, instead of just running over the body and going on my merry way like I used to be able to do in Warzone 1, I now have to all right, let me look. Where's the frag? Okay, let me pick it up. Where's the smoke? Okay, let me pick it up. And then move. Slowing down the pacing of the game. I'm spending more time not playing the game, but wrestling with a poorly implemented mechanic or bug or feature. And that's taking away from my gameplay time, doing the things I want to do, which is shoot, move, whatever. So for the same reasons most of what we've talked about today are good things, this is a bad thing because it's detracting from the pace of the game, because I have to waste time picking up lethals and tacticals manually when I should be doing it automatically. This is slowing the pacing down. Change it. And the big problem here with this is that they have not mentioned this once, and that worries me, because
Nobody's
Raven
ever mentioned it ever. Yeah.
And like Tanner said they are not even aware that this is an issue. I think that is true, and the reason I think that's true is because Raven has been very communicative and vocal about things that are broken that they plan on fixing, and they have said as much in a tweet or a blog post or a season update. They will say, by the way, we're aware of an issue where X. We are going to fix it in a future update. They have not said that about not auto picking up lethals and tacticals, which very strongly implies to me they don't even know it's a problem. And that sucks, because I wish if they were aware of it, they would fix it easily, like Tanner said. So that's the worrying part for me. Not that this is game breaking or the end of the world, not picking up those things automatically, but it really should work that way. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem they're aware that this is a problem. So it's not likely to get fixed until they become aware of it. And that sucks. So.
Yep. And then last thing here, this is in this section. It's good and bad, depending on if you're the one using it or you're the one receiving it. But frag grenades, they're actually overpowered now, I would say. I'm not sure why they buffed them to the amount they did. You're actually you're trolling if you're not running throwing knives. I mean, throwing knives or frags. Throwing knives make sense. You can get one hit downs up close. They can be overpowered too. They make a lot of sense on Resurgence for getting fulls. But if you're running any other lethal, like a Semtex, a Molly, a Thermite, a Breacher drone, you're just wrong. Frag grenades are so good now. I promise you will constantly get downs and kills with them. You shoot somebody one time at 40 meters with an AR, you probably did enough damage to grab a frag, start pushing his building, cook it, throw it on the roof. He maybe hasn't even plated by then, and you get it down. They're so good. I mean, they do 275 damage close range. I don't know why they buffed them that much. They're way too good.
These are for sure literally overpowered. Yeah. They do way too much damage. Frag grenades were probably strong enough without the buff, because frag grenades have a lot of advantages. You can bank them, so you can like hit a wall and it'll bounce and go right on someone that you wouldn't be able to throw a Semtex in that way, for example. You can also cook them so that they can't be run away from. If you cook it enough, it'll explode in the guy's face before it even hits the ground. That's really good and strong. And their blast radius is bigger than I think every other lethal in the game. So you can get a hit marker from farther away with a frag than with any other lethal. So they're also the most generous in terms of margin for error. And now they also do the most damage. So they're really, really strong, and they need to be nerfed. Yeah. I don't think this is ruining the game or anything. It's not as bad as having a gun be wildly overpowered, but they are wildly overpowered. And I think the only thing they need to change is just amend the damage. I think they should still have the blast radius they do, because there are downsides to frag grenades. You have to cook them. Well, you don't have to, but it's often smart to. They detonate slower than any other lethal. That's like a downside. But yeah, they just do too much damage now. You know what this makes me think, by the way, and I'm sure we'll talk about this more on a bonus episode coming up this month when we do a brainstorm, patreon.com/thedropshot. there's probably a very good argument right now for running Bomb Squad. And I wouldn't have ever thought to run that before.
Yeah.
But it's probably worth running now, actually. And it would suck.
That is true. I wonder.
But it's probably worth it. Because Bomb Squad also got buffed to have a damage clamp of like 150. So you're going from taking 275 frag grenade damage to only 150. That probably makes that perk worth it. Yeah. I'm probably okay with giving up double time for that. Especially, again, with the huge blast radius on frags. I'm taking frag grenade damage pretty often now. So, yeah, I might want to switch to Bomb Squad. That's something you guys might want to think about.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought, maybe, yeah.
But yeah, frags are just overpowered.
Yeah, but so, kind of to end it here, if you don't play Fortune's Keep, this update is near perfect.
Yeah.
The game feels really good right now.
Yeah.
It's since the season came out, I don't know if maybe I've had like one, but I don't know if I've for sure had even one of those rage-inducing incidents that always happens in Warzone, right? It's just like wild that all we wanted the entire time has been working footstep audio. Number one issue that I always rage at this game, dying to some guy I can't hear. Awful way to die, and it happened all the time. That hasn't happened.
Yep.
We got a lot of good quality of life changes, the precision airstrike notification, so now I'm not dying to random precision airstrikes. Again, less rage inducing. We still have one-shot snipers, thankfully. In fact, now we have two. And, we don't have a close range time to kill anymore. That is 300 milliseconds like it was at the launch of Warzone 2. Like, it's actually so easy to please us. And you guys always, or not all of you, but a lot of people are like, all you guys do is bitch. Yeah, because the game's bad all the time.
Right.
It's bad all the time, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I don't even necessarily need that much content. We got a bunch of new content. I'm choosing to not play that because the actual game is just good right now, right?
Exactly.
That's all we need. It's super basic.
Yep.
It's really basic. Just balance the game and remove the bugs. So, yeah, it feels really good right now. Really, really, really good, actually. I've been on that grind set.
Yeah, this is, I think, the most fun Warzone has ever been if you exclude external factors. So, like, it's possible that there was a time in Verdansk where I had more fun playing Warzone than I do right now. But if that's true, it was because of everything else, not like the game itself. It was because of like quarantine and everyone playing Warzone and it being super new and getting cut checks by the government for more than my like job I used to work would pay me for. Not literally me, but many people. It like Warzone might have been more fun in that era for some people than it is right now, but it wasn't because the game was better. Like this game of Warzone right now is way better than Warzone's ever been, including the golden days of Verdansk or whatever. The game is actually more fun now, for sure. This is the most fun Warzone has ever been. And to reiterate what Tanner said, this is all we've ever wanted, was the game to work as intended and to not die to things that I don't know are around me. Fix the bugs, clean up the little things that I have to grapple with every single match, take out all the friction, and that is really all we want, and we will be very pleased if we get it. We don't need a huge Halloween Zombies event where we get massive map overhauls and new UI mechanics and event rewards and bosses to be happy. Those things will make us happy and they're cool, but more importantly than that, we just want the base game to work. We want to hear people. We want to see where the precisions are. We want to auto pick up ammo. We want to be able to reconnect to the lobby. We want to be able to find a match. We don't want to die because we can't climb the rock. We just want the game to just work. Just make it work. because LTMs are fun, but they get old eventually, and you still have to deal every single game with not auto picking up ammo. Let's start there, and then we can add goofy, cool LTMs and make and add vines to Skid Row. That's all well and good. But more importantly than that, fix the base game features, and that's going to make everyone way happier than adding fancy new bullshit, because those are the things we have to put up with every single match. And if you make those things work seamlessly, the quality of the gameplay experience will skyrocket tremendously. And Season 2 is a perfect example of that. I love this season. It's probably the best seasonal update that's ever happened in Warzone for me. And that is despite the fact that I'm using none of the new content. It's all because they improved the base game a lot. That's all.
We've hardly even used the new guns even.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's all we wanted. It's all we wanted.
Just give me a working game and my one-shot sniper and I'm chilling.
That's amen. And then once we've gotten those things ironed out, now when you add the cool new LTM for Halloween this year, it's going to be really fun because the base game's going to work. I'm going to hear the zombie shambling footsteps, and I get the novelty of the cool skins and the cool map overhaul and UI and event tab or whatever. It makes me way more excited for the new things you guys add that you think everyone wanted, because the base game is really fun. And then you add new things on top of it, and then it's a whole new ball game. I might around and buy Black Cell right now.
Oh, wow.
I might do it just to give them a little $30 tip.
Wow.
Because they fixed the game, basically.
They fixed the game, huh?
Yeah, and to all of you who say we're just negative Nancy's and all we do is complain, as Tanner mentioned, the reason for that was not our fault. It was Activision's fault, because the game sucked for years and years and years, and they didn't fix things. We don't always complain. We don't always want to be complaining. We will happily sing the praises of the game when it's not a lie to do so.
Yeah.
And right now, it's not a lie. The game is actually really fun, and this is a great season. And I'm happy to say
W Raven.
And W Raven, and I'd much rather be singing the praises of Call of Duty than shitting all over it. But we couldn't do that when the game sucked. So don't accuse us of being negative Nancy's, and let this episode be evidence of that. When the game does things and when the devs do things that are good for the game, we are the people who want that to be the case the most, and we will say so. So W Raven, W Season, Fix Fortune's Keep though,
W
and stay humble.
Stay humble.